Hey, Freddy with CJ Pony Parts. Today is a very good day. Everyone knows that I'm the turbo guy, and when Borla offered us one of their turbo kits for the EcoBoost F-150, you know we had to say yes. The EcoBoost F-150 is already a powerhouse from the factory, but there is no such thing as too much power, and Borla claims this turbo kit will help give us an increase of up to 160 horsepower. Borla sent us their twin turbo catback exhaust upgrade kit with a true dual side exit exhaust. It comes with Borg-Warner factory style turbos with upgraded billet compressor wheels that will make significantly more boost and power, a true dual 2.5-inch stainless steel side exit exhaust, a high flow air filter, NGK iridium spark plugs, and a programmer to give it a proper tune. This kit is seriously awesome and I'm just dying to throw it on the truck, but before we go any further, we're going to do a baseline dyno run to see where the truck is right now so we can see just how much this Borla turbo kit makes once it's installed. So we're here at Intune Auto Works getting a baseline dyno for the F-150. Now this is a Mustang dyno, so the numbers are probably going to be a little bit lower than what everyone's thinking, but we're not really concerned about the actual number. We're just getting a baseline for now. Now we're going to see how much of a percentage gain we're going to get with the upgraded turbos. Another important thing to note is the truck does have larger wheels and tires on it, which are much heavier than the factory, so those could affect the numbers as well. And also, despite what you've seen in previous videos, the truck is bone stock performance-wise right now. So here's what our truck made bone stock. It peaked at 265 foot-pounds of torque and 257 horsepower. And as you can see, the boost spiked right to 21, but then quickly fell right off. Now these numbers, 265 foot-pounds of torque and 257 horsepower, they're pretty average for an EcoBoost, but also keep in mind this is on a Mustang dyno, so the numbers might be different from numbers that you've seen. Now that we know how much it makes, let's go install the turbo kit. For this installation, you'll need a lift and a pole jack, or a jack and jack stands, and a good selection of hand tools, and probably an extra set of hands as well. Since this Borla kit comes with a true dual exhaust, the first thing we're going to do is remove the factory exhaust. We're going to completely remove this mount that's on the front end of the muffler. Loosen the clamp securing the front pipe to the muffler. Slide the exhaust off all the hangers to remove it from the truck. Remove the 4 bolts securing on this belly pan. We're now going to use a pole jack to support the transmission. We're not going to lift it up, just support it because we have to undo the cross members. Remove the 4 13mm bolts securing this cross member. To begin removing the transmission cross member, there's a 10mm bolt on each heat shield on each side of the cross member. They're pretty hard to see, but they're up there, I promise. Remove the 2 21mm nuts securing the mount to the cross member. To completely remove the cross member, there's 4 15mm bolts holding it in, and then 18mm nuts on the back side. May need to put some pressure on the cross member to remove the final bolts. And remove the cross member. Remove the 4 15mm bolts securing the transmission mount to the transmission. This bolt on the exhaust hanger needs to be removed before you remove the bolt on the transmission mount. Remove the mount from the downpipe. All the oxygen sensors have to be unplugged now. There's 2 on the passenger side on top of the transmission. Simply unplug the connections. There's a 3rd connection on top of the driver's side of the transmission. Here's the 4th oxygen sensor. You can either unplug the connection, which is on back of the engine block, or just unscrew it from the pipe. We can now remove the downpipe by removing the 2 15mm nuts on each turbo. Might need some wobble extensions to get onto these. We're going to temporarily reinstall the transmission mount and cross member to support the transmission so we can get the pole jack out of the way. The turbos have coolant lines running through them, so before we disconnect them, we're going to drain the coolant so we don't make a mess. Start off by taking off the radiator cap. Then we're going to drain the coolant. Grab a piece of hose and put it over the petcock. Then have the hose go into a proper drain pan. Grab a screwdriver and loosen the valve. To gain access to the turbo, all you probably need to remove is this liner right here. But for the sake of the video, we're going to remove the whole fender liner to give you a nice good view. All these clips that are on sensors on top in the engine bay also need to be removed. With access to the turbo, we're now going to disconnect the intercooler pipe and the intake tube. You can use a flathead screwdriver or a 7mm socket. There's a very small clip right here securing this water line in place. You can remove it with either a small flathead screwdriver or a pick. And there you go. And there's the coolant that's been hiding in the engine block that did not want to come out when we opened up the petcock. Make sure you have a proper drain pan for this. Disconnect the vacuum line, go into the wastegate. Remove the oil flange on the bottom of the turbo with a T45 Torx bit. There's another coolant line right here on the back side of the turbo that needs to be removed as well. Just grab yourself a pick or a screwdriver and remove the clip to remove the line. With everything disconnected, you can remove the 3 bolts holding the turbo to the exhaust manifold. With everything disconnected, you can remove the turbo. With the factory turbo off the truck, we can now transfer over the heat shield from the factory turbo to our new turbo. And the new turbo also needs new hardware and gaskets. It is possible to reuse the old stuff, but I would highly recommend not doing that. Here at CJ's, we do offer a complete hardware and gasket kit for this twin turbo upgrade, which we're going to be using. I really would recommend using this instead of the old hardware, especially if you have a higher mileage truck. Now we're going to transfer over the heat shield from the factory turbo to our new turbo. We're going to start to assemble the new turbo with our new hardware. It's a really good idea to put anti-seize on here just in case you have to take it back apart in the future. We're now going to assemble our new turbo by installing the turbo outlet flange. Take the new gasket and put it on the outlet of the turbo. Install the flange. Then install a stud. You're going to want to put anti-seize on here just in case you need to take it apart in the future. Now to make these tight, you're going to tighten them together. And then you can tighten this nut and it should spin the stud. And do the same thing to the other stud. Install the turbo to manifold gasket. Your kit will come with 2 gaskets. One is for each side. This is for the passenger side, and this one's for the driver's side. They are different. Now it's ready to go back in the truck. Install the new oil drain gasket and the new hardware. Reinstall the top water line. And snap it in place. Push the water line on the back side of the turbo in as well. Reinstall the vacuum line to the wastegate. And reconnect the intercooler pipes. And reconnect the pipes going to the turbo. With everything connected to the new turbo, you can repeat the process on the passenger side. There's actually a little bit more room on the passenger side because you don't have so many wires hanging down in your face. To remove the water line on the back of the turbo on the passenger side, you might have to remove the starter to get access to it. This water line is tucked underneath the cylinder head. You have to very slowly and carefully bend it out of the way, very carefully not to kink it, so you can lift it up and let the turbo come out. Don't forget to reinstall the starter. This Borla twin turbo kit comes with a true dual exhaust setup that requires us to modify the stock downpipe. What we need to do is undo this clamp right here so we can separate this cat from the Y pipe, and then cut right here as close to the weld as possible to separate this cat, and then this Y pipe section gets completely replaced with the new Borla piece. We're going to make a cut right here as close to the weld as possible. I'm sure some of you may have cringed because we cut the stock downpipe, but if you don't want to do that, you can use their catless downpipes. They are an option. Now we're going to use the stock cats to stay EPA friendly, but they do offer these catless downpipes that you can use instead, which will make more power. Then reinstall the catalytic converters onto the turbos. An extra set of hands might be helpful doing this. Install a clamp onto the first section of the Borla exhaust and then install it into the transmission mount and catalytic converter. We're not going to clamp this all the way, we're just going to make it snug so it doesn't move. Install the passenger side catalytic converter. Before we go any further with the exhaust, we're going to fully secure the transmission mount and cross member. Grab the Borla pipe that's going to connect to the passenger side catalytic converter, slide a clamp over it, and connect it to the passenger catalytic converter. Slide a clamp over each pipe, then line both pipes up with the supplied X pipe. Connect the intermediate pipe with the two hangers to the outside pipe on the X pipe. Again, we're going to leave it loose until the exhaust is completely assembled, and then we'll tighten everything down. Install the intermediate pipe without any hangers onto the inside pipe on the X pipe. Install the individual muffler on the inside pipe. Install the tailpipe section. With the entire exhaust installed, we're going to tighten everything up now. We're going to start at the downpipes and work our way all the way back to the tailpipe. With the entire exhaust fully secured, we can reconnect all the oxygen sensors. Reconnect the final oxygen sensor, Now we can move up top and do the spark plugs and air filter. The Borla kit includes 6 new NGK plugs, but they're not pre-gapped. As you can see, they have a gap of about 42 thousandths right now, so we're going to gap these to 30 thousandths since we're increasing the boost. Perfect. Now we're going to gap the other 5 and install them. Out with the old, in with the new. And repeat the process for the remaining spark plugs. Now for the most difficult part of the entire install. We're going to swap out the factory air filter for a new performance air filter supplied by Borla. We're going to replace all the coolant that we lost. We're going to be using Mishimoto's Liquid Chill. It's compatible with all makes and models, and it is blue, so don't freak out, but it is compatible. It's topped off with coolant. Now we're going to start it up and let the cooling system bleed and leave the radiator cap off. We bled the cooling system and checked for leaks, which there weren't any, and now we can reinstall the fender liners. Alright, all the hard work is done, now it's time to tune this thing. The Borla kit does come with this SCT tuner, but there's no tune on it. You do get a free tune voucher though from 5 Star Tuning, and I'm going to show you how to get your tune. First thing you're going to do is plug in the SCT tuner into your OBD2 port. Connect the cable to the tuner, and turn your ignition on. Go down to Vehicle Info, Continue. There's your COM, you'll need that information, and then your ECU strategy. You'll need to send the ECU strategy to 5 Star Tuning. Locate your VIN number and write that down. Figure out the size of your tires. Then you'll need to locate your axle code. It's probably going to be on the differential itself or on a sticker inside the door. In our case, it's on a sticker inside of the door, and our axle code is L9. Go to 5startuning.com and then go up to the top and click on the CAL form. Fill out all the information on this form. Select which truck you have. And if you have any other modifications, you can enter them here. And then hit submit, and you'll get an email from 5 Star Tuning. You're going to go to sctflash.com and download 2 things. Go to the support tab, click on X4, downloads, and you're going to download the updater as well as the live link. We're going to run the updater. Very first thing you're going to want to do is connect your programmer to your computer, and then check for updates. And then 5 Star is going to send you a base tune. Then you'll load that custom tune file into the programmer using the software. Once you get the base tune on your programmer, you're going to plug it back into the truck and hit Program Vehicle. Follow the on-screen prompts. As you can see, we have the 3.5 liter EcoBoost F-150 with a 91 octane base tune. Our tires are 32.5 inches. This will take a couple minutes, so make sure your battery is in good condition or hook it up to a charger so it doesn't die. And then this part will take a couple minutes. We're not finished just yet. We only have the base tune on this truck. So what we need to do, we need to data log the base tune, do a couple runs in third gear, send 5-star the results, and then they'll send us a tweak tune that'll be even better. Open up Live Link, connect your device to the computer, and 5-star will send you an email of what they want you to data log. So now you need to find those parameters in Live Link to create your own data log file. Click right here. I want to create a data log configuration file. Vehicle is not available. We're not connected to the truck at the moment. But if it is, you can select that. Hit next. Then you're going to enter the manufacturer, your strategy code, which you can get from your tuner. Strategy is PKCP0D3. And select items. Now there's a huge list of parameters you can select. You're going to go through this list and find the ones that 5-star wants you to data log. Configure data log. Give it a name. Save it. Come up here and click export and it'll send your data log file to the device. Connect your device to the truck. Come down here to data log. Go over to configuration. And select the data log that you made on the computer. Here's what we called it, first data log export, and we're going to select it. In the data log file that we created, there's a lot of parameters that we're data logging. It's only showing 8, but now we can go out, do a couple third gear pulls, and record the data logging. To record, simply just hit the center button, and it's going to record. We just got back from doing 3 third gear pulls in the truck. Now we're going to send the data log file to 5-star. Open up Live Link and come over here to I want to import a data log from a device. Make sure your device is connected. It's connected. And import file. Come up here to save data log file. Save the file, email it to 5-star, and then they'll email you back an updated tune that you can load into the truck. We're back here at Intune Auto Works. We're going to dyno the truck again to see how much it made. The truck's been running really good, but I honestly have no idea how much power it will make. But keep in mind again, this is a Mustang dyno, so we're not actually going for numbers. We're looking for a percentage gain, but like I said, the truck's been running great. I think it's going to do really well. So we just made our last dyno run after installing the turbos, and as you can see, we made a peak of 354 foot-pounds of torque, and we made 327 horsepower. We got a gain of 90 foot-pounds of torque and 70 horsepower, which is pretty awesome. And we got a little bit more pounds of boost. We got 21, but it did drop off like the other one as well. We compared our last dyno run to our other F-150 EcoBoost. That truck had a tune, exhaust, and an intake, and it only made 286 foot-pounds of torque and 289 horsepower. So our truck with just turbos and an exhaust made significantly more power. Here's another comparison graph of 2 of our F-150s. This graph right here is the torque of our twin turbo upgraded F-150 that we just worked on. And this graph right here is another one of our F-150s with a professional dyno tune and an intake and an exhaust. And as you can see, we made much more usable torque throughout the entire RPM range, even though at the end they're pretty similar. This is where it's going to come into play, where you're going to use it the most. I want to give a big thanks to Intune Auto Works for letting us use their dyno. The truck put down some good numbers. Now keep in mind it is a Mustang dyno, so the numbers are different than other numbers you may have seen. And the truck is basically stock other than what we've done in this video. We do plan on doing a lot more to it in the future and getting a professional tune by Revolution Automotive. Installation for this whole twin turbo kit should probably take you at least the whole weekend. Plan on calling some friends over to help you, and before you know it, you'll be heading down the road.